Hello and welcome back to Fashion and Founders, the podcast. My name is Victoria Smith, and this week I'm joined with Hanushka Toni, the founder and CEO of Sellier. I am coming to you live from London, and I'm really excited to share more UK-based companies this season as I'm here during the summer. So if you are a London or maybe European-based brand, definitely reach out. I have been following Sellier since I lived here a couple years ago, so I am really excited to share this episode with Hanushka and share more of her story. If you're wanting to transition careers and work in fashion, listen to this episode. She started her career as a lawyer and is now the CEO and founder of the UK's fastest growing luxury Preloved store. Something I think that really sets them apart is their social media strategy. On TikTok alone last year, they had 250 million views, which is insane. And their videos go so viral that I would guess even if you didn't know about their brand, you've likely seen one of their videos. A favorite London influencer of mine also has a social media marketing agency and works with Sellier, Isabel Lorna, so go check her out as well. And if you are someone who wants to be in the resale business and learn how to really gain traction selling your products on social media and make it as desirable as something new, I think Sellier is the example to look to on how to do this and how to do it well. There's so much to learn from Hanushka and how she's built her business, so let's get into the episode. And this week's highlight is the brand Hauteline. Founded by Christy and Michelle 2 years ago in New York City. Christy was born and raised between Thailand and Malaysia, and before Hauteline studied computer science at Dartmouth, began her career as a software engineer at Microsoft and Farfetch. Michelle grew up in Southern California and prior to Hauteline studied economics at UC Berkeley and went on to work as an investment banker with experience in modeling and content creation as well. Hauteline was born out of their personal need living in New York City in their 20s, working in fashion. They were exposed to an incredible variety of brands and styles, but at the same time became acutely aware of how wasteful the industry could be. When they started to look into rental and secondhand fashion options, they couldn't find anything that aligned with their sense of style. And with this gap in the market, Hauteline was born. With just a quick scroll through their Instagram and website, you can really see the incredible and unique variety of picks that they have. The Fancy Club bandage top really caught my eye because I feel like bandage dresses are really having a moment right now. And I love that they offer shopping appointments so you can go try on a piece before a really important event. So if you want to be best dressed at your next event, definitely go check out Hauteline. Well, hi. I'm so glad that we get to do this. It's the first London podcast of this season, so welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
And I would love to get into a bit of your introduction so people can get to know you and Sellier. Sellier?
Yeah, Sellier, however
Okay.
you want to say it. Yeah, I'm Hanushka. I'm the founder and CEO of Sellier Knightsbridge. I started Sellier around 6 years ago with my mum. It started off as a small, teeny tiny business. Since then, it's really grown into one of the UK's most recognisable resale businesses. And my brother has joined us, and it's still very much a family business.
Can you talk about the beginning of it? Like, were you and your mom talking and saying, oh, we should do this? You were really into fashion. How did it really start?
So it's interesting because as long as I remember, since I was pretty much a child, my mum always wanted to have a luxury resale business. I don't know why that idea was in her head, but somehow all these years later, she manifested it. Now, for me, I actually started my career off as a lawyer. And I remember after I qualified and I was working in a really, really great city firm, every day I'd go to work and I would be thinking about having this creative fashion job that involved resale. But I kind of didn't know what that would involve. But I would talk to my friends about it a lot, but it was kind of a pipe dream, something I'd never, ever, ever do. Well, at the time it seemed that way. Anyway, fast forward a good few years, and my mum ends up opening this small store in Knightsbridge. Her idea was that it would just be pure brick and mortar. Local people would come in, buy kind of Chanel, Hermes, and it was just a bit of fun. And at the time, I had absolutely no intention of joining her in the business. But then, famous last words, COVID hit, and I ended up leaving what I was doing at the time and joining her in Sellier and helping build it from the ground up.
Wow. So you and your mom were way ahead of everybody else in like the pre-loved vintage, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, back when we started pre-loved resale, it really wasn't cool. No one wanted to know. People still thought it was a bit shameful.
Yeah.
It had the stigma about it. I mean, it feels like these days, absolutely everyone is shopping resale, but that definitely was not the case when we started.
Totally. I think it became a stigma to like a badge of honor where it's like, oh no, it's vintage, it's resale. And it's something people take a lot of pride in now. So it began small, like you said. How did you scale it into what it is now? Because I think I heard you say you were doing 9 million and now you're doing double that on another podcast.
Yeah.
That's insane. Jump. How did you get there?
I mean, it's so interesting because if you had asked me 6 years ago, I genuinely never would have believed that it's possible to achieve those kind of numbers without any investment, without taking on huge amounts of debt. And from the very beginning, I don't think we had any particular financial goals. So it's interesting because you meet business people who sit down with a spreadsheet when they're launching their business and they say, in 5 years' time, we're going to be at 6 million. And in 10 years' time, we're going to be at 15 million. We were never, ever those kind of founders. We sat down at the very beginning and said, how are we going to make this business the best it can be? If we make 1 million, we make 1 million. If we make 2 million, that's it. And if we make more, that's great. We never had any financial expectations. Our only focus was to make sure we were profitable, because that meant that we could sustain our growth as a business. So by focusing on doing what we do in the best possible way, I think it actually helped us scale much faster than if we had only been focused on the numbers.
You guys have scaled rapidly.
Yeah.
Your TikTok, your Instagram, I feel like every video gets millions of views.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy again. And I remember starting, especially with TikTok, because the Instagram was always a little bit more shopping related and a bit more factual. But starting the TikTok and thinking, this is either going to be so embarrassing or it's going to work really well. And in many ways, it's been both. Because in order to get viral videos, as you'll know, I mean, virality is often a product of doing something that no one else would do. So you actually have to put yourself out there. But it's been absolutely incredible for our business. The growth we have seen from that has been just astronomical.
The one that really comes to mind, because I think it's pinned, is you on a paddleboard with a...
Yeah, that was so crazy. And we don't really have a content plan. Everything with us is spontaneous. So when I'm with our social team, we will literally meet up in the morning. And in that case, we were in Monaco. I was with Isabel, who films the content. And I said, why don't we just go to the beach and I can paddleboard with a mini Kelly? And she said, what? And I said, let's just do it. It'll be really fun. And we did. And we had no expectations. It was just something a bit wild. And that video did, I think, 13 million just on our account. And then it got reposted by so many other accounts. So yeah.
No, your social strategy, all of it, I think other brands must look to like, how do we do that ourselves?
Yeah, I guess you just have to be really comfortable with also sometimes getting it wrong. Because not everything that you do is going to hit right with your audience. It's not always going to be comfortable to film. You obviously get a lot of comments. And I mean, it's social media. So 70% of those comments are going to be negative. You just have to be like, okay, fine, take it on the chin. Yeah.
Like, I just sold a mini Kelly. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it's you, kind of the face of a lot of these videos, if not maybe all or most of them. Did you think that would be a role you would play?
I guess it just happened very naturally. I don't think I ever thought I would just be producing all this very social media focused content. But as I got into it, I just became really comfortable doing it. And yeah, it's just part of a job, I guess.
It's very fun. I think if people don't know about you or the brand, they've 100% seen one of your videos. Do you find that there really is a funnel in a way of people see the videos and they go viral and then they become customers or they visit you in the store?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think we're at the level now in terms of social reach where I guess the law of large numbers applies. So just on TikTok, a year we get 250 million views. Okay, that's huge. That's more than the Super Bowl. So that is a lot. So obviously not everyone is going to convert. But even on a conversion, if you're really, really pessimistic of, I don't know, 0.05%, you do get new customers who come in and they buy. So yeah, we do see that. And it really, really propels the business forward in a way that paid marketing could never do. Because if someone sees your social and they like it and they engage with it, they're already forming an emotional connection with your brand.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone sees a click to pay, a CPC ad on Google, they click on it. I mean, there's no emotional connection there. It's purely transactional. And that customer isn't sticky. There's no loyalty.
Totally. You guys have a lot of personality as a brand.
Thank you.
And so when you're acquiring pieces, it's consignment based.
Yes.
But I'm sure you might have some sources that you like often go to. What are you really looking for? How does this process work?
Yeah, I guess if we're talking about bags, we always actually, with everything, we focus on the best in class product in every category. So back when we were starting the business, we really thought about how we wanted to be different, because obviously there's so many businesses out there, like eBay, for example. They've scaled and they've got lots of amazing product, but you might need to really devote a lot of time to finding what you want. And so back in the day, we were thinking we want to be almost like the Harrods of resale. So you go on Sellier and every single product is a product that you might want to buy. So when choosing our pieces for consignment or buy-in, we always make sure, is it the right product? Is it hot? Will our customer love it? Or is it actually not that desirable, a bit irrelevant and not exciting, in which case we won't take it. And the other consideration is it the right price? Because our whole philosophy is right product, right price. So you can have an amazing product, but if it's completely overpriced, then it's pointless listing it on your platform. So we try and hit those two things before we take on anything to sell with us.
Yeah, because it does feel like everything on your website is pristine. Like you're not like, oh, there's a flaw and I have to go take this to get
we try to
repaired.
curate everything just to make sure it's something that everyone will want and doesn't really have any issues.
What is like a top product on your website? That's something you just kind of can't get enough of.
I mean, still the Hermes Birkin.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's such an investment.
Yeah.
And every year I think, oh, is it really going to go up? Is it really going to stay popular? And every single year, I mean, it completely outdoes my expectations and the market keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So
did you see that they're auctioning off Jane Birkin's original Birkin?
I did. And I swear they auction it off every year, because I was talking about this on social media last year when they auctioned it off and it went for something bizarre. And obviously it's come back to the market. So I think it's really exciting to see what it's going to do. On the way here, I was actually thinking I need to make a TikTok about that. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe. I would hold on to that. That was like my grandma's Birkin.
It's got like cat bite marks in it and things. Yeah.
That's like insane. Beyond the Birkin and maybe the Mini Kelly, are there any pieces or brands maybe that are really trending this year, or you're seeing a lot of people trying to resell or buy, like anything you have your eye on?
So I don't know why this is in this business, and if anyone has a theory, I'd love to hear it. But we seem to see a real distinction in terms of French brands and everyone else. So French brands are the brands that hold their value. People love them. Often they don't trade at too much of a discount to the original RRP. And then you have Spanish, Italian, and American brands and the rest of the world. And for some reason, they're just not as hot. So Chanel's still hot. Hermes is obviously hot. Louis Vuitton. And then everyone else is more, I mean, they still sell, but people definitely don't get as excited about them.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
I don't know why that is.
Are there pieces that you personally have your eye on?
Oh, I don't just have my eye on them. I normally just buy them, yeah. Actually, I'm wearing a Louis Vuitton jacket that I bought from Sellier. It's like my new favourite thing.
Because what was your journey into the fashion industry? You clearly have an eye for it, but you were a lawyer.
Yeah, I was a lawyer, but I was always very creative. So I guess you have different kinds of wiring, and some people are wired very kind of analytically, and some people have a very like creative side to them. So I always was very interested in not only fashion, but why people make the choices they make when they're purchasing. So like the anatomy of desire when you're shopping. Why do you want this product and not that product? And how does the messaging from the brand affect your purchasing decision? So I think that's something that I just innately had in me. And obviously I was interested in fashion because I grew up with a super fashionable, stylish mother. So it felt like a very natural move.
How did it feel becoming a founder then and stepping into that role?
Gosh, I think it's one of those things that before you do it, starting any business feels absolutely terrifying because there's so many unknowns. And I guess the biggest fear is always the fear of, what don't I know? How stressful might this be? How challenging might certain elements of running a business be? But actually, for me personally, what I found was starting is the hardest part. But once you're in it, you just put one foot in front of another. And it's so stimulating because you're learning new things every day and it's challenging. And it actually leads to being completely present in your everyday. I think in some jobs that are too easy, that don't challenge you, you kind of get to work and you're a bit anesthetized, like a bit dead inside. But as a founder, having to face challenges, put out fires every day, think of how to grow your business or how to survive, that is incredibly invigorating. It just makes you excited to get up in the morning.
Yeah, I think it definitely is a motivator every single day if you're super passionate about what you're building and you have that long-term vision. I'm wondering, what is a typical day or week in your life? Because we were talking before how you go to Monaco.
Yeah, I travel a lot. Sometimes I feel like I live on the plane. But for example, when I'm in London, I'll get up pretty early, so around 6, get my children off to school. Then usually I work out first thing in the morning. And after whatever I do, whether it's Pilates or strength training, I'll just sit quietly, have my breakfast. I won't go into the office, but I'll just do just me and my computer going through everything I need to do for the day. Then I'm usually in between stores. So we have 2 stores in London right now, a few locations up and down the country, and a store in Monaco. So I'm normally just working with the team in our different locations, looking at stock, thinking about what we're doing this month, this week. So my work is quite reactive to whatever is going on within the business.
Yeah. What was the decision like to say, we're going to open a whole nother store in a different country, and just keeping up with all of that? I think from the outside, it seems really glamorous, but I'm sure through really living through it, maybe it's more day to day.
When we started Sellier, I think what I was so excited about was how much we were shipping to the EU. And on Brexit, pretty much, I promise you, overnight, those orders dried up. So we were shipping to Spain, Germany, Portugal, and overnight someone turned off the tap. And it was still early on in our business journey, but we felt like maybe our revenues were impacted by 30-40%. So for me as a CEO, it was a no-brainer that we now had to open in Europe somewhere, and where better than Monaco to do that in order not to lose that market. And it's been one of our most strategically important openings. I mean, it's my favorite office.
Would you ever open up any other locations?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For now, we're focused on the UK, but long term, we're definitely going to look at the States and also the Middle East. Yeah.
Have the tariffs impacted you at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've definitely seen a dip in orders. I mean, that's just the reality of international e-com right now, especially to the States.
So I know for some, at least in the US, the conversation a lot was, Preloved is going to skyrocket because everything else is being tariffed. But I don't think people took into account outside Preloved stores when they were kind of making those points.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The global fashion industry is far more complex. And your store in the UK was robbed last year.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because I feel like that must be terrible as a business owner.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a nice thing to wake up to. At the time, I think I was at a conference and I was meant to be doing a talk, and I woke up and I checked my phone, and the first thing I see is all these pictures and videos of someone just raiding the store. So it was 3 guys on mopeds. They broke through the glass in the middle of the night, went in, and in the space of a few minutes took absolutely everything they could. I mean, in that moment, I'm not someone who gets emotional in a crisis. I go into problem-solving mode. So in that moment, we kind of had a call with the team, and I said, right, the priority right now is to get all our customers paid today. So anyone who had something taken, whether it was a bag or a piece of jewelry, we need to pay them today, and then we're going to deal with the rest. I mean, it's sad that we live in a city where that's the reality of doing business. But I mean, there's no getting away from it.
Have you still been feeling the repercussions of that? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw an article. It was 500,000 pounds worth of goods were stolen.
Yeah, I mean, I always think that we're quite lucky because it would have sunk a smaller business.
Yeah.
So I guess we're at the size now where that's something that we can absorb. And obviously, if we were smaller or kind of just starting out at our journey, that would have been very, very different.
Yeah. Do you want to get into some speed round questions
let's
now?
go. Yeah.
Okay. What is a fashion hot take of yours?
Ooh. Hermes is still in. Yeah. It's not going anywhere.
Anything Hermes.
Anything Hermes.
Beyond, we were talking about this a little bit, but beyond the Birkin, what is the best investment piece?
Vintage Chanel classic flap. It's never going to go out of fashion and they're never going to produce them again. So yeah, get your hands on one whilst you still can.
What is like a fashion no to you? Like, don't buy this one, don't buy this trend.
Oh God, this trend right now. I don't know. I'm just allergic to skinny jeans. Trends wise, I don't know. I love trends. So yeah. But skinny jeans are never ever making a comeback in my wardrobe.
Oh my God. What do you think of the Labubus?
Oh, I hate them. I think they're terrible. Yeah, that's
those came out of nowhere, at least in my eyes.
No, they're
especially like pairing them with a Birkin.
Yeah,
like,
I don't get
happening?
it. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
I know, me neither. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
It was actually a piece of advice from my husband, funnily enough. And I had to do a work thing where I needed to call someone up who I had quite a fraught relationship with and ask them for a favor. And I was saying to him, I'm not sure if I can do it. I don't know. And he sat across from me. He looked at me and he said, I don't get it. What's the worst that's going to happen? So they say no and you get rejected. So what? And in that moment, I thought, oh my God, you are completely right. To just put something like that into perspective, a lot of time people are so scared about hearing no or just being rejected or not having things go the way that they want them to. And in that moment, I thought, yeah, even if things don't go my way, what does it matter? I mean, is it really fundamental? Like, are small outcomes fundamental to like my everyday life? No. So I made the call and it actually went really well.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go. There's a lot of people who listen who are in the early stages of their careers who might see what you've built and be like, oh my God, I am selling my stuff on Depop right now, but my dreams are, of course, to be having my own store, flying around. Like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who has these big dreams?
Interesting. I think if you have big dreams, hold on to them. Don't let them go and believe that they're going to happen. But before you do anything, go and get some experience working for people that you find inspiring, and normally in smaller companies, because that experience will let you see the reality of being a business owner, the unglamorous, the unfun sides. And then if you decide you do want to follow your dream, you'll be way ahead of anyone who hasn't done that.
Yeah. Do you think being a lawyer and having that career beforehand changed how you were able to approach this luxury fashion business?
I think there was one positive and one negative. I think the main negative is that when you work for someone else, that person is basically bringing in the business and you're just responsible for doing the work. So in a sense, early on in your career, you might become more relaxed and less proactive about what it actually takes to grow a business. Now, when I started Sellier, I had no choice, so I had to almost just get on with things. But the great thing I found about being a lawyer first is that it really taught me attention to detail. So how to really give every task 100% because you can't afford to get it wrong.
Yeah. And you said your mom started this and you are doing that with her, and then your brother just joined. Yeah. What is it like working with family?
Gosh, for us, it's absolutely amazing because my brother's my best friend. I couldn't be closer to my mum. So it's great because we don't really face, I guess, issues that you might face if you're working with someone who you haven't known your entire life.
True.
Yeah. So things get resolved very easily, progressed very easily, and it feels like we're nearly always on the same page.
I love that. I've interviewed a few like best friend founder duos, that sort of thing. Or someone who works with their husband. And I'm like, this is so interesting because I feel like growing up or in a business class, they're like, don't go into business with your family or like your friends or.
Definitely not with your husband. I mean, wow.
I'm like, it's working for these people.
Yeah.
So why not? Are there any upcoming announcements?
We are opening a new location and it's going to be, I can't say where it is, but it's going to be our most exciting opening yet. I'm so excited. I can't wait to tell you, but yeah.
When will that be announced, do you
It's
think?
going to be announced, I think, end of August. So in
Okay.
a few months.
End of summer. And where can everyone find you?
So they can just pop into any one of our stores. So there's a store in Belgravia, a store in Knightsbridge, and a few locations up and down the country. So yeah, the Instagram, the TikTok,
Amazing.
and on our website, obviously.
And if they want to sell with you, is the best way to just come in person?
Come in person, DM us on Instagram, send us an email, call us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're easy. You can reach us any way you want.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love this.